good to have you. So thankful to have you on this call. Um, we'll be going live very shortly. So I just wanted to inform you that we'll soon be going live so that once we start recording or once we go live, we can go ahead. So wonderful to have you on this call, sir.
Thank you very much. My
It's
pleasure.
um, it's really a great privilege and an honor to have you. Um, so I will be starting this recording session right about now. Great. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome to the Retail Giants, My Retail Experience. It is a series basically aimed at encouraging young and budding entrepreneurs who will be, who have, envisaged to enter into the retail space, but are not clear on how to go about it, or probably they are just overwhelmed on how to navigate their journey through retail. So we came up with this particular series, basically bringing people who have been in retail for a while and bringing them on the platform so that young and budding entrepreneurs like you can benefit from their wealth of experience. They are here not to sound like a success story all around, no, but they want to tell you their journey, how they've been able to navigate the challenges or the tides that they have been able to surmount while they've been on this journey. So today, this is basically our third session, meaning that we've had three people. This is the third person that we are bringing on board, and he goes by the name of Mr. Kenneth Ilomechizine. I'm sorry, sir. Please pardon me if I have murdered the name, but I've known Mr. Kenneth for quite a while now. If I'm not mistaken, I've known him since 2012, 2013. And I've had the privilege of serving him with one of our solutions, serving his business with one of our solutions. And being in business, every time I see entrepreneurs who have, they said that it takes 5 years to test the waters being in business in Nigeria, that you can make it in 5 years. There's something that you're doing okay. So Mr. Kenneth has been the MD and the founder of Style Avenue for the last almost 10 years. That's the one that I know. So he will share his story very soon. But we just want to hear from him. What has kept him going? What is it about, despite all the things they say about businesses in Nigeria, but he has kept at it. And the amazing thing about him is that he was a banker, not just a banker, an IT professional who left the bank and started this retail enterprise. So his story is interesting, and I particularly am interested in hearing this story. So make welcome with me, Mr. Kenneth, as he gives us his introductory, should I say speech? As he gives us his introductory welcome notes this afternoon. You're welcome, sir. Great to have you on board this platform.
Yeah, thank you, Obi. My name is Kenneth Ilomechizine. I'm the founder of Style Avenue Limited. We are a luxury brand retail shop in Abuja, even though we serve the whole of the country and beyond, but we are here in Abuja in a brick and mortar form. That's it. We deal with luxury goods. So while I will not be talking as a motivational speaker, I will just tell you how real it is. And it's not insurmountable, but it's not also that easy. But what will keep you going if you decide to go on your own, to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, or self-employed, is going to be the passion, the vision you see, the passion. Sometimes it will sound crazy to other people, but you who is seeing it, it's clear. So once you have that you just keep going.
Thank you very, very much, sir, for that intro. I loved what you said at the beginning, that you're not here to sound like a motivational speaker. You know, we've heard a lot of people who just say, oh, do this, do this, do this, and you will get this. And they make it look so easy. But you and I know that when you face the day to day issues of doing business here in Nigeria, it's not as easy as it sounds. In other parts of the world where a lot of things have put in place, and you know you are given the right foundation to flourish, they may have a different story to tell, but in Nigeria here it's a different kettle of fish. So my next question, which like I said was an intriguing one for me, is this: you were an IT professional in a first generation bank, a big brand, and you didn't just hold a normal position, you held a big position. You were an IT professional in that bank, and you were there for a while. And after that, you became a retail entrepreneur. Can you please enlighten us why or what fueled your decision into coming out from a more established sector such as the banking sector to becoming a retail entrepreneur, sir?
You know, Obi, the decision was not just entirely mine. Uh, People pushed me
Wow.
uh, from where I was to where I should be. I have always known that I have the entrepreneurial spirit in me. I've always not been a good staff. When I mean not a good staff, I I did my work perfectly, and for the 10 years, I didn't have any disciplinary issue or any performance issue. But um, I've always seen the mediocre in people you work with. After Jack Welch wrote his book Winning, a lot of management students who went to Harvard to go and do some 6 months management course and the rest came and tried to implement it in our own setting here, where you just wake up and decide that 25% of your
I'm sorry, sir. Your this thing has gone on mute. Can you please check your sound?
it's they don't even go ahead to implement it the right way they should implement it. What they do is they ask your boss or whoever you're working with to bring 25% or 20% of the staff, right? And so it's no longer performance based. It's about who's looking the boot of the boss, right? Okay. And for few of us who refused to lead book and say it as it was an issue. And the banks didn't go ahead to implement it with human face. You can imagine a bank you worked for 10, 15 years, never had any disciplinary issue, never had any query, just come in one day and try to log on, and you cannot log on the system, and nobody's telling you what's happening. You call your colleagues to say, I can't log on. Is there any issue with the system? And they're throwing you here and there and there and there. Then after some time, you start hearing rumor filter in that there's right sizing, this number, you understand me? So when it happened, I felt really bad because I gave all my life to that particular institution. There were times we had to do shifts. Sometimes you know when you go to the office, but don't know when you're going to close, because sometimes 72 hours on the stretch, you're working without, and you can see the organization growing, and such thing happened. When it happened, I had some other offers. Of course, the bank industry, the way it was, stories will fly. People were calling you. Some offered to give you maybe a step below. So some just. And I had friends, in-laws who were trying to see if they could place me somewhere. But I told my wife, I said, I will never work for somebody again. That if these people can treat me this way, it's not worth it. That if I put in 10% of what I did invest in that place, that I think I would better. So I was caught between two things. One is to go consulting as an IT person, or to just do something on my own, right? I tried contract consulting, but it didn't work out for me, because even the first seed capital I raised, which was 5 million, which was, of course, Abuja, you have to pay to get jobs and all those things. I gave the
Absolutely.
money, I never got the job and lost the money. So I looked at it, I said, what can I do that my fate will not be anybody's hand, but strictly on my own? And
Yes.
I came up with the fact that I want to go into retail. At that time, I told my wife and she believed. Every other person, my mentors in the bank industry, my in-laws, everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody thought I was high on something. But I just stuck on it. And because of my strong character, none of them could confront me, but they were going behind me to talk to my wife to say, what's the problem? But she just said they should leave me alone, that we're okay. And so I started. There's something that I hear a lot of people say these days when it comes to startup business. They complain they don't have fund, they don't have supporters, they don't have everything. But I started without anything
Wow.
because I was down and I had no fear for fall. I was
Wow.
already down, right?
So there's
Uh,
nowhere to fall to.
Nowhere to fall to, nowhere to fall to. Our colleagues were busy sharing their CVs. Some of them died in penury. I mean, some of them could not recover up to now. After like 15 years, some of them couldn't recover. But I saw even those who were in the banking that were higher than us, GMs and EDs, they'll leave the bank, and after 6 months, you see them, you will not believe these are
You
people you
really
used to
can.
know. They can no longer fund their lifestyle. And of course, you know that in the 90s to early 2000s, the banking was more of people outside looked at us as people who are prestigious, working this. But we all know ourselves, we are living in credit. Your salary is paid on 24th
Use
and checks
use
just bump.
credit to fund your lifestyles.
But lifestyle, take a loan to buy a car, take upfront to pay for a big house somewhere that you think is commensurate to your at the end of the day. So when I looked at it, I said no. My only concern was, who was I responsible to? My wife. And I
Wow.
told her, could you bear this for a little while? Of course, she was working too, and she said, no, no problem. So it was only her I had I owe explanation. And so I moved in. The next thing was, what should I do? I get a lot of young people come up and ask me to advise them on what kind of business to do. And I will tell them that it's not in my place to do that. Not in my place to do that. But whatever you decide, I will tell you, it's going to be harder than you think. It's going to take much longer than you think. And I'll tell you for free, it is going to be worth it at the end of the day, right? You must take risk. You have to take risk. You have to show up, take risk, start, you know. So today we are big, but we didn't start up like this. There was a time I had to travel almost 2 or 3 times in a month out of the country because I didn't have the finance to stock up once. So I'll travel, come back, sell, leave again, come back, sell. And it comes a lot of issues. For instance, I know there was a time at the Abuja International Airport, I was being searched by NDLA every time I travel because a young man that was traveling 3 or 4 times in a month. But each time they come, they'll search me, they'll take me and scan me. And over time, they got to know that no, this man is just a genuine businessman. But it wasn't easy too. Even overseas too. When you keep landing the airport and your passport is being stamped every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, there's suspicion. But over time, they also started recognizing the face, and so we didn't start big. We started small. I had to sell my car. I sold my car. Of course, like I tell people, it's
Wow.
be patient to start small while you think big. I knew where I was going to, but I didn't have the finance to start there. So I had to start somewhere. What I just did was to segregate my market, know what market I wanted to play in, and I started from there. So that was it. I didn't just wake up and said I was going. I was forced, but when I was down, I just made my mind I won't work for somebody again, and that was how we took off.
Wow. Wow. As in, I'm literally blown away hearing three things that stood out for me when you, okay, so I also was in the banking industry for a while, sir. So I can totally relate with that fear of coming to the office in the morning and trying to log in and not being sure if you would even actually be able to log in. So a lot of bankers live with intrepidation for a lot. Some of them still live in trepidation for a long time, quite unsure of what their next phase or what will happen when they come and they can't log in. So I know that phase. But one thing that stood out for me in what you said is this, that you didn't need everybody to believe in you. You spotted out the one person who, who was like the primal focus there, and her believing in you was everything for you. So you just needed that go from her. And this is not a relationship series, but I caught that you need to find out who you just takes one person who is so important to you to believe in what you want to do and you can launch in. And also, I heard when you said that you cannot tell people what to do. You just need to take time to find out from yourself what is it that you have the ability to do. And once you find that thing, you launch in, not thinking that, oh, how would this thing? A man, like they said, a dead man cannot die twice. If you're on the floor, you cannot fall any further than where you are. So the only way to go when you're on the floor is back up. So that was just a remarkable one, sir. And the last thing I got was credibility. You took time to, to build integrity in the business. And after a while, you are credible enough for people to be like, this is a genuine businessman. So it was not a walk in the park for you, but over time, you built that credibility. Thank you so very much, sir. So the next question is this, sir. In your, what was your early experience like? What, now this one, I would rather we stay more with things you learned. There are so many things. You were not a retailer before, so there are some things you learned on the job. There are some things that you encountered, like nothing prepared you for this, but you saw that challenge and you probably made a mistake with it, but you learned a lesson. One or two lessons that you learned in your early experience, sir.
Obi, an entrepreneur is someone who sees a need and takes financial risk to start up a business. Um, in starting the business, there are two forms of business people go into. One is the business you go into for ego. The other one is the one you go into because you can do it, right? And if you go into a business that can do it, then ego dies. Like I said, ego dies because I forgot. Let me tell you one thing I did that's funny. Because I didn't want to go back to the bank industry. I had very good suits. I'm in fashion, and I've always loved fashion even then. So I
As a
gave out all
banker.
my suits and all my work shoes, so that nothing will take me back to go and think of going back to
Wow,
the
you
bank.
burnt the bridge.
Yes, I burned the bridge. And but when I say ego died was this, like I told you when we started, right? We went to luxury. First thing is that when you choose a business you want to do, you must choose a proper location for what you want to offer the world, right? For instance, I won't be saying I want to do luxury and go to Kubwa in Abuja and go and open a shop, or go to Nyanya, open a shop. No, you must look for Metama, at least Wuse too, where you know that those who can afford what you're selling can just walk in without so much stress. So then too, we didn't have the money to rent a shop in Metama where we are now. So I was operating from my house, and my sales place was Hilton, and you can imagine that a
Wow.
former banker who used to stroll past Hilton with big suit looking, fanciful, now carrying bags to sell shoes in the same Hilton. So ego died. Ego
Wow.
died. So I will go to Hilton. I'll go to Hilton on a good day. I'll pay for a room. Get people to say, I'll go down, talk to people. I have good shoes. This, that. What you're wearing? We have something better. We have this. We have that. And they will come upstairs. Some will buy. And luxury is not what you get customers from advert, because most times these customers don't access these adverts. It's more of word of mouth and person you have treated well relating to another person, and people will always ask you, "Oh, this is a fine shoe or this is a fine bag. Where did you get it from?" They will keep
Absolutely.
referral. So Ego died. We did that for some time, until we were able to raise money. And when we finally raised money and paid for, of course, we paid for where we wanted to. It took over 9 months to get the place ready because the builders, of course, they'll tell you it's 3 months, 2 months, but it took about 9 months. The first goods, the first time we did orders from the manufacturer, a friend of mine, because what I did was, even in also when I was going to buy, I was researching, I was making friends with people who had the same business overseas, who I was building my business to look like theirs. And I was from them, I was getting contacts in Italy. So the first set of goods we ordered landed in the hand of the agent, and the agent was owing the shipping companies, and the shipping companies seized our goods until and clear
Wow.
and the agent was supposed to pay everything he owed before they released our goods. So our goods stayed in the agent's hand for about 1 year again. So that also prolonged my shuttling back and front, traveling to go and bring things, because that would have stopped me from the travel.
Yeah.
So that was
So
it.
you couldn't trust anyone to be that middleman because of that experience that you had.
Good. It was an unfortunate experience, of course, but we got caught up in it. But because of the passion, the zeal, and the fact I wanted to prove people wrong, I just did not want to relent. Some people told me it was a sign that this was not the right thing for me and all this, but I just said no. It could have happened to any other person. I'm just one of. It just happened to me because my goods went to his hand when he was owing. So that was it. Another thing, I discovered is that our people over here don't have dignity for labor.
Hmm.
They don't have dignity for labor. I had to, even though I needed the money, walk out of transactions because of the way somebody wanted to demean me. Right? Somebody, you see, our big men will call you to Hilton, to their room in Hilton, ask you to bring shoes. You roll two trolleys of shoes, keep them there. They will have just these small girls around. People that are not even up to your workers, and try to and talk to you in such this. So most times these are things you have to go through. But because we know where we are going to, it didn't deter us. Most times, if it comes to the level of degrading or trying to demean me, just walk out of the transaction and say, "Sorry, sir, I will not sell again." I told the minister that I will not sell. He came back, I said, "I will not sell to you, sir." And I didn't sell. Up to today, I don't sell to him because he brought me and tried to use me to, I just show off and, spoke to me in a way I didn't like. That's one thing. And even up to today, I don't take it from anybody. You don't talk to my workers anyhow. My workers will respect you, but you will not insult them. You will not talk to them. If you insult them with your money, will ask you to go with your business, because I want them to have dignity. That to know that what they're doing, there's dignity in labor. What you're doing, you're serving somebody, but that should not give the person the right to insult you. We don't accept it in our business, and all our customers know we don't insult. We don't accept it. I will not insult my beyond correction. Objective correction, I will not use any derogatory word on my staff, and nobody will be allowed to do that. Once I get to hear that, I will tell you, "Sir, sorry, sir, we are not going to deal with you, or please, can you apologize to my worker?" And I have stood by that. I have some customers have gone, but it doesn't matter. Just respect my staff, because overseas, I can't go to a shop overseas and insult the workers. The police will arrest me. So why will you come to Nigeria here and want to insult my workers? They are looking for how to fend for their family, and so that does not give you the privilege to insult them. So the first thing, like I said, is that if you want to start a business, you must allow ego to die, right? You allow ego to die. You approach some people to market them, they will insult you, And that time, you were in Abuja, in Hilton too, there were a lot of hangers on who didn't have anything to offer, but they were just there to beg. So at times you were approaching somebody and the person will think you're one of them and just speak to you in anyhow. But when you remember where you're going to, you just will accept it. That's one. Another thing again that I went through was, funding. Funding. Because of my experience from the bank, I refused to access any loan from the bank. Because if you are assessing loan from the bank, you should have a pattern of income that is consistent, that you will be able to repay as at when due. Otherwise, you will not fall to the ground. You will fall to minus when you fall. So, and we are proud to say that in our 13 years of what we are, we've never taken any loan from any bank. We've never. We were growing as sales. We are growing, and we didn't owe anybody. Should we have gotten loan to go higher than we are? Yes, but they were also, it was a two-way thing. You could take loan and you will fall below. A lot of shops closed today. For instance, for the
Because
last
of
4 years
that
now,
decision.
things have not been moving the way it should move. So a lot of shops who are owing have closed down, but we are still there because we had stock and we are playing with our money. So that's one. So if possible, try and raise. I advise people who are starting up business, try and raise fund within your circle from family, if possible. If you have something to sell, please sell. Obi, nothing is unsellable from you. The only thing is, apart from my wife and daughter, I can sell anything. I can sell. I say, even the house I live today, if there's a transaction I need to sell it, I'll sell it and move somewhere else and do transaction. Everything should, I see some people, you have car, you have house, you have lands, you're looking for someone to borrow money from. But what are these things for? You should sell them and invest them. If you trust yourself that what you want to invest them will yield something, sell it.
Then
Don't keep
sell
going to
it.
go and borrow. So I see some people will go and borrow at ridiculous interest rate, and they will lose what they have used to borrow the money and not get the value of what they had staked for the money. So that's funding is a big problem. One. So, but if you're able to raise and start, like I keep telling people, be patient to start small. Don't go and test the water with your two legs. Put one
Put
and
one
see
leg
how it
in
goes.
first.
One leg, if it's stable, you put the second one
You put
in.
the second one.
Are you getting me?
Yes,
So, and
sir.
that way the fall will not be as it should be if you jump with two legs. Are there things that you will do that you will fail? You must fail. There are times you look at, like I learned from my business. It's not when you are buying to sell to the public. You don't rely on your taste only. Because that thing
Absolutely.
you think it's fantastic for you, might only be fantastic for you. I've spent money in pots, expensive stuffs, and nobody asks what is this, right? So these are also the risk. But most times when you weigh it, at the end of the day, there's balance. You know, that's on. Another challenge I see people do when they start business is not being able to separate the business money from your personal money. You know,
So
from the
good.
beginning, I try to separate my business money from my personal money, such that we might have 50 million in the business account, but I'm still broke, and I tell them broke because it's not my money. Because
Yes, sir.
when the time the manufacturers call for their money because the shoes are ready for me to pay, or the bags, I should be able to transfer the money and get my stuffs. So if I've spent it as my money and I'm not able to, I'll be left to go to borrow, right? So I try to, as much as possible, separate my personal money. I pay myself salary, and when I need money that much that the salary cannot, I do what? I borrow from the business, which I also will repay from other businesses that is not that particular business. But most people are not able to separate their business money from their personal account.
Money.
Are you getting me? That's it. Another problem people run into is in terms of taxes, VAT, and all those things. When you start business newly, most times you're selling. You don't have a store. You're selling from maybe your house, your boot, your car. These times you don't pay VAT because it's from you to your pocket, maybe to your personal account. But the moment you have a brick and mortar where you have a showroom, right, with a signboard there, FRS and all they keep coming to you, right? It's better when you're starting to keep your books right and do the right thing, because when they accumulate, the cumulative effect becomes it can kill a business.
Yes, sir.
Particularly if you don't have any savings to pay. So These are things we try to do. Then the other thing is that, as a new business, at times you want to sell, even if it's credit, to give you to give you, to tell you that you are in business. That the times you stay, nobody will come in. So when somebody who is your customer comes in and asking for credit, I will pay next week. You're good. You're happy to let go. We fell into that trap, and it was not palatable. It was not palatable. It almost ruined the business. It almost ruined the business. There was a nugget I was sharing the other time. I'm sure
Yes,
you
sir.
you, you
I
came
was just
across it.
about to go to that nugget, sir.
When I said there's no customer that's absolutely trustworthy in terms of credit. I mean it. They have the highest and the highest. Our customers, I
Yes,
mean, serving
sir.
governors, former governors, senators, they have disappointed us. It's just a matter of time. They will. They will. All of them have. So as I tell you, they will. They will. Just like there's a matter of time. And there's no incentive for them to come and pay you.
Nothing.
Except, when people have
Apart
incentive
from
to come
their
and pay,
word.
it's when, apart from the word, when they have incentive to come and pay, is when you are the only person who is offering
Offering
that
that
service.
service. When you have the monopoly
For
on the
instance,
market.
good, For instance, now if I'm Dangote, and if Dangote is giving me cement and I'm into construction, I will always want to go and pay
Need
because I will
people.
need more
Yes,
to
sir.
pay, right? But if they have like 10 Dangotes, I will use the money and go and pay somebody and carry and leave Dangote. So that's what we saw. And if you look at it, you discover that a lot of those people who are owing you, they are chronic debtors. They are owing almost everybody that's doing the same business with you. In some way,
So
but just
they
because,
just discovered you to carry over their habits to you.
and for instance, if you're doing luxury, in luxury, when we conclude a transaction, in other businesses like properties, and you will say you have closed the business, right?
Yes,
In
sir.
luxury, you don't close business, you open relationship. Are you getting me? You open
Yeah.
relationship. When somebody steps in and shops 3, 4, 5 million for you want to know him better. He wants to also be sure that the person who is buying from doesn't want to talk to the workers, that you, the owner of the business, knows he spends this much. So you going to, from that, you start developing relationship, times you're invited to occasions, a lot of
Yeah.
things start developing. And if you're not very smart to be able to draw
To
a
draw
thin
the
line,
line.
the line, time will come, you start treating the person as family because the person will have bought your trust, and that's when they hit you. That's when they hit you. So, and the credit, like I keep saying, particularly in this time, in this time with the economic volatility, exchange rates, not being stable, inflation rates going up. If somebody's owing you and the person does not pay as at when due, it
Inflation
suffocates
will
the
catch up with
business.
it.
It suffocates the business. Your planning is destabilized, and inflation will catch up with. For instance, I had a customer who was owing me $10,000, right? That was the amount at the time he was owing the money, $10,000, and then I think then it was 170 something. So that's one point
That's not the
something million.
same value now.
Now this is like 6 years now. He's still owing the money. And then I remember we calculated. I said $10. When I now called him to ask for the money, and I said 10,000. He said no, it's 1.7 million. I said then it was
That's
10,000,
it.
and he said no, that is naira is paid. That was he buying it? And but even up to now, I've not gotten the naira.
Wow.
I get it. And there's so many of them that way. So we learned the wrong way. We learned the hard way. But again, Obe, there's something I want to tell those entrepreneurs or those who are planning to, who are university graduates of business schools, who had worked in places that they were not in sales or managing retail, right? I want to make them know that they're already disadvantaged by virtue of the schools they attended. Our schools do not teach you how to be a good entrepreneur or a good retail business owner, right? If you look at part of what I learned later was when I became friends with somebody who went through the normal Igbo mentorship apprenticeship. You know, when I say some things, the guy will look the guy will look at me as at this level. You mean you're going through this? I will not say yes. The guy will say no. So you know, I started studying that particular mentorship Igbo boy system. I discovered that a lot of things these guys go through a lot of things, right? But I'm surprised that this country had not decided to document those things and see how they will put them into the mainstream. Let me tell you something. Do you know, as a graduate of business school who have worked maybe 10, 15 years in big establishment, if you open your business today, Obi, to call a big customer to say you're owing us, pay up, you also justifying why you shouldn't call him so you don't annoy him, even when he's owing you. Are you getting me? You find you'll be rationalizing why he shouldn't, maybe he doesn't have money now, or maybe he's busy and all those things. But that boy that went to do boy, his guy will send him to go and collect that money, or he won't eat and won't come back home. So at that young age, he has known how to go and collect
debt recovery.
Debt recovery. He has learned debt recovery, right? They learn stocking. You know, now of course we have store harmony where you can check your stock and all those things. You know, those guys learn it at that age too. They know, right?
They do it every week. If they have to count it every week to ensure that their goods are intact, they will do it because it's part of their to-do.
So if you're going as a graduate who just wants to just start and venture into retail or any entrepreneurial distance, and you're going against those guys that you're already disadvantaged. Because the guy has spent 7 years doing those things practical, right? And you see that in Nigeria, we lack a lot of, people don't write how they succeeded. And if when they write half truth. They don't tell the truth, they hide their truth. I have an opportunity to work with a lot of people who are billionaires today that the country knows about, right? But what they write on how they become where they are,
it's different from their actual experiences.
Yes, I was in there. I know what we experienced, and I know, right? Yes, I mean, and if you go today and meet anybody who had worked in any of these so-called big organization, blue chips, and the rest, you know, you discover that those guys, some of them were not doing anything special. It was just luck, time, and chance.
Yes, so true.
Yes, I mean, it was time and chance, you know. Like I tell people sometimes, you know, so a lot of people will walk up to me and say, how did you succeed? Even some of my former bankers, my former friends, they'll come, some will come advice at this, that. And I told them something, I said some of us succeed in spite of ourselves, right? I think a lot of entrepreneurs succeed in spite of themselves, you know. So, why did I say so? Most of the things that happen is that you enter the right industry at the right time and you know the right people, and this happened. Take for instance, if the banking collapse of the mid-90s didn't happen, where will you see people of 30, 28 years becoming MDs of bank, for God's sake?
So true.
Right? So those people, they actually took the risk. There was
a disruption at some point that emerged a new set of, made things different.
Do you know that there are some people that were left in the bank 16 years ago and they've not had more than 2 promotions in 60 years?
Yes, sir.
But somebody is MD of that same bank at 32, some 31, they were MD. So if for 16 years I've gotten 2 promotions, at what age did you get? It's me. So that's it. It's like if you ask me today, if I want to venture into a business today as an entrepreneur, will I go into the luxury zone? No. When I did, at that time, I saw the opportunity. I saw what was happening. Abuja was a hub. That was during Obasanjo, right? Abuja was a hub. Every week there's something to happen in Abuja. If the PDP governors are not coming to Abuja, the chairman local governments are coming. Something must happen in Abuja every week. And so all the people around Plateau, Nasarawa, even up to Rivers, Bayelsas, all of them, they were all saving money to come to Abuja to shop.
To buy
weekly.
Rather than travel.
It was only Abuja or Lagos or abroad. But Abuja was it because they had to come to Abuja for official trips. Are you getting me? And so I saw that opportunity. I discovered that the person who was filling that gap for them was a little bit old modeled in what he was doing. And so I went in, right? But in going in, I didn't also just go in like that. But if I had gone to just buy and sell, then I would not be doing anything different from what they're doing, right? For instance, there's a company that I'm doing business with, right? They have 100 and something years now. When I came in, after the first year of doing business with them, what I did was I now came, I told them, look, you guys have very top quality. Everybody knows what you're doing, but you guys are still stuck in the past. You're stuck in the early 70s. Can we do something more modern so that people can, And they
You
said,
can,
what do
you
I
can
mean?
reach
I
out
said,
to this new generation.
yeah. I said, for instance, I don't see anybody now, this modern one, coming to buy a shoe for 2,000, 3,000 euro, and there's no logo showing who's the maker of this shoe, right? Everybody wants, if you're spending that kind of money for a shoe, there should be something to show that,
Yeah, so that you
and they
can
said,
brag
no.
about it.
I said, okay, you know what? Do it for me and let's see, And they said, okay, we agreed, And of course, a lot of designers, actually in Nigeria here, we have people who wear good designers. They know what I mean. They know the designers are in vogue and they wear them, right? But most times you see that most of these things they wear, even when they're expensive, does not fit. There are shoes you wear and you're very uncomfortable with these shoes, but because of the name, you also want to wear it, And they were and I refused to agree to that. I told them no. If somebody must spend this, the shoe must be comfortable. Let us see what are you doing. They said, Ken, that I said no. I want to see what you are doing. We went to the factory, and when I discovered that they were just making shoes for Asians, Europeans, And I said, so, but Africans, what? Why? They said, I said,
African
look.
market is different.
I said, look, yes, if you know our anatomy, the African structure is different. Our legs, like for men, they have big heels, they're flat, big wide and all those things. I said, so why not going to do this for them? They said, okay. And we now have to go and review the sizing for my particular place, and they started doing it. In the heel, even the heel too, we had to work on the heel. Went back to see what level of heel will you have that you won't have back pain, you won't feel, structure. And you know what I discovered? Fashion is more than just what you wear, right? There's kind of shoe you wear and you'll be having waist pain. There's a shoe you wear, you have headache continuously. There's
Wow.
Yes, the people don't know. There's a fitting of pants you wear. If it's tight on some places, you will feel headache. But people don't know. So I was able to study all this, research on them. And so when I was talking to the manufacturers, they knew I know what I was saying. But guess what? We did it and we came out with that stuff. The next year in their fair, they exhibited my sets of shoes that I chose, right? And they called me and said they've never sold the way they sold in their 100 years. And they gave me a strict 15% discount on whatever I order. When I say 15%, I mean some orders I will get like 6,000, 7,000 euro discount.
Wow.
I get it. And today they don't do any shoe without logo or something in it. And those logos are logos I designed and I gave to them. And they gave me a gold plaque for it. The company is Atioli. They are one of the best shoemakers in the world. So I went to Barretti, I did the same thing. I went to this, I did the same thing, So you now see people will go and buy shoe in Europe. When they come back here and they buy our own, they will not be telling me that my own looks more comfortable. I say yes, because it's built for us here in Africa. You can look at it, it's wider, it's still like that, Now, even sometimes when you go to buy from them, they'll tell you, come to Style Avenue, that you'll see the one that will fit you well. Our own are narrow. And of course, some will come. But let me tell you one funny joke. One of our very rich Nigerians went to Atioli to buy shoes. And they told him they can't sell shoes to him directly. He should come and see me. He said he cannot call me. So they said, okay, they said that I will call him, So I sent him a mail and I called him. Never picked my call. But we had a mutual friend. When I told the mutual friend, look at what's happening, he said the man said that that those people are mad for telling him to come to Nigeria and meet me to get his shoe orders confirmed. That's how we denigrate, our own people here. But we'll go over there and we'll respect shopkeepers.
Yeah.
Not even shop owners, because you never see the shop owners in Europe.
You
They
don't
are rich
shop the
people.
owners abroad. No.
They are holidaying, driving Ferrari, Lamborghini. Those people you are seeing, they are just workers. They go there, they treat them so nicely. But they come here, they treat our Nigerians as if we are sheet. I mean, we're offering the same service, So that's it. But
Wow.
another thing again, Obi, that I want to highlight if you're starting business is that there's distrust, so much distrust among Nigerians, such that you travel abroad. You just when you pick any item, you look at the price tag and you just go to the cashier and you submit your card for them to debit you or you pay cash, right?
Yes,
In
sir.
Nigeria, you come here, you come walk into a shop with price labels and they'll tell you the price and you are like, sometimes you're asking for half the price. And I say, who does that? If I sell to you half the price of what you have seen as price tag, would you call me a thief?
Exactly, because you would have. I'll give you the perception that you are making much more than you should make on the shoes.
When people ask me, I ask them, I say, sir, if I sell this thing to you at this price, what would be your impression of me and my business when you leave this place? I say, sorry, we don't. The best we can do is give you 5% discount. And that's 5% discount we're doing is just within our own profit margin, Because, you know, pricing is no longer a hidden thing now. People go to internet to check these things out. Some people come to
Absolutely.
your place, when they see a stuff, they just begin to go, they'll hide it from you and they don't to know the price. So if your price is reasonable,
Outrageous.
people will just walk away. So we try as much as possible, particularly for the ones we have franchise for, to price it as equal as what they are selling in Europe, or just a little bit higher. Nothing more than 5% higher. But people will come and still want to buy it half the price, but they go to Europe and buy that same stuff at the price you're giving. So there's a lot of distrust in business, but you learn to live with it. It's just the same way you learn to live with the fear of being an
Wow.
entrepreneur. You just learn to live with the distrust too.
Wow, wow, wow. In fact, I could listen to you over and over. There's so much to learn from your wealth of experience. It's obvious that, there are people who tell you by the book things. Oh, do it like this, like what we see in our business schools. So they'll give you the by the books. But they're actually, when you learn from someone who understands it because of experience, then it's different. So there's so much to learn. But let's run quickly, sir. You basically sell luxury items and you've emphasized it over and over again. Right now, bringing it, you said if you were supposed to go into business right now, you probably wouldn't consider selling luxury items because you felt that you went in at the right time given the circumstances with the economy and everything. But currently, people still sell items that are still luxury, whether you like it or not. Take, for example, there's some goods that would attract a specific set or category of clients. How do you recommend or how do you think people can source or attract high paying clients to their business? Were there things you implemented? Because I'm sure you're not the only one that still launched the luxury black brand when you did. There were others who did. But what do you think you put in place or you implement that made you stand out during when you started? So what are the things or what are the tips you can recommend when serving a particular niche of people, especially high-end customers?
Okay, Obi. You see, no experience that is useless, right? At
Yes, sir.
every point, the experience will come in handy. As somebody who was in the banking uh, industry, not serving external customers, but serving internal customers. Of course, IT served internal customers.
Yes, sir.
We had gone through a lot of training on how to treat customers, how to make them feel special. Even when you're not giving into what their request is, but at least you make them go not feeling this. So that came in handy one. First of all, what I did was to earn the trust of my customers. The trust was that they know that whatever they buy from me is original and it's coming. And because of that too, I also make sure that I don't buy from third parties. I make sure I'm buying from the source, so I can vouch for my
Supply
product one.
chain.
Yes, product one. Sometimes I am happy when a customer comes and say, "Remember this shoe? I bought it 10 years ago," and I'm say, "Wow, it's amazing." There's one funny thing. Like I lost a lot of customers during this change in government from PDP, APC to PDP. not because they wanted to leave, but because, of course, the fund was no longer coming. They were no longer in power again, right? But most of them will come and call and tell me, I say, do you know when I come out, people still look at me as if I have money because of the shoes I bought from you.
Wow.
Because these shoes are still looking new, lovely. They are of top quality, right? And of course, most of them cherish it because the prices are like almost 5-6 times what they bought it then, you know. So that's one. Uh, I earned their trust, you know. There are like Abuja here now. There's people you thought, okay, they mix. You know what we call mixing? You have some original, you just
Original
try
and
it.
the one,
Yeah.
yeah.
But anybody knows that when you come to Star Avenue, what you get is the original. And you even hear customers who bring in their friends say, just don't forget, stop looking at it. Everything here is original. So that was it. I earned their trust. They know. That's one. Secondly, is that I also, there's something I discover. In Abuja, the circle is small, right? So, and when I mean circle is small, everybody knows almost everybody, one way or the other, or somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. So what we try to do is try to keep our business private. For instance, now it's difficult for me to call A and say your friend B is owing me. You understand me? Your friend B is owing me. I don't. You know, there was
Wow.
scenario where a particular very very high person is owing me, and the wife sees me every time she comes greet me, and we greet her. So one day the man was, I said, the man, this money you're owing me more than 3 years ago. The man said, hey, am I sure? I said, yes. Wife now said, but she sees me every day. What did I say? I said, madam, I didn't do any business with you now. You know, I did it with Oga. Why do I have to come and tell your guys owing me or tell Oga that I you me? So uh, fashion is addictive. It's addictive. And it just, if I say it's like drug, you won't believe me. But you see, fashion is addictive. Such that somebody who is fashion conscious, even when he has 100 pairs of shoe and there's a new one that came out, he wants to add it, even when he doesn't have the money. You know. But what I do is, even when you come today and you shop 3 million, 5 million, or even 1 million, and you step away, and your best friend comes in next, I will not tell him that you just left here, except you tell him, but I will not. So they feel confident that they feel that their secret is kept with you. You're not going to go
You.
and are you getting me? So that's about it.
So,
The
two things I hear you say that really stood out. When you're dealing with high profile clients, confidentiality
reality, yes.
is
He
key for them. That's one. And you give them that one on one, you make them feel like you are my customer. They don't want to know if you have thousands of customers, but when you serve them like they're the only customers that you have, that is very
and
good. So, yeah.
and also you see, the psychology I learned to as part of my studies when I was doing marketing. I also had a degree in marketing. Teaches me how to deal with people too. There are customers I will see, I will disappear from the showroom, because there are
Wow.
customers that actually feel more comfortable with your workers than you. Big customers, they feel comfortable with the workers. You right? Because when they see you, the owner, they want to also say, me too, I they here. In some way, they want to show you they are big. So in choosing what they want, they will not be comfortable to tell you, I don't know what I need, but look at what I want to use it to wear. But they will tell their workers, and they will pally. At the end of the day, when they're going, they'll give them tips. They are friends. So once I discover you like to deal with them, once I see you stepping in, I just step out. I just, one word order. So you must
Wow,
learn
this is
customers
this is
where
a
they are.
KYC strategy. So in banking,
Yeah,
we call it KYC. Know your
KYC,
customer.
yes. Know your
Wow.
customers. There are customers that when they even see me around, they will not enter. When
Wow.
so when I see them coming, I just step out. Like if I was running for a meeting or so, I just say hi and I run. They feel it like that in some way. There are some that they'll call you about, what do you have? So because I won't come and say, what's the raining thing now? What's new? They won't want to tell me that because they are feeling big. But they'll come and walk and say,
Then they
what do
call
you
the
have new?
workers.
Bring it for me. Let me see. Some like to be sat at home. You won't come here and say, Ken, bring it for you at home. But you come up and say, bring it at home. So each customer is unique. You must learn them as they are. But what I have also tried to do is this other. You agree with me that the rate at which staffs turnover, particularly in retail business, is nothing to write about. I've tried to resolve what is the issue. Some people will say treat them well. Okay, but it's going to be very. I mean, when I say it, people will say maybe it's mean, right? But I've discovered that the meaner you treat your staff, the more they stay. I don't know why.
Wow.
It's like what you call, you know what you call Stockholm syndrome,
No,
where
sir.
people love Stockholm syndrome is where people love somebody who's treating them badly. That's what because I have had to go and investigate. Have you seen these Lebanese companies? And you go there, you see some staff work there 20 years, 15 years, and you're wondering what their pay is not fantastic. And if they spoil anything, they deduct it from their salary, right? But here in Nigeria, here you employ somebody, apart from pay salary, at times they will bring their personal problem, you will solve, rent problem, you will solve, the child sick problem, you will solve, school fees, you will solve. The day the person sees anybody who is earning 10,000 extra to his salary, he will leave without even. And you know one thing, they don't even have courtesy of saying I'm resigning. This that. This phone will just go off and you won't see the person again.
Terrible practice, especially in the retail industry. And I think,
Yeah,
sir, I currently think, apart from what you have said, which is true, because I'm currently doing a study, and as you know it, because of this platform, I deal with a lot of young people, and the whole reason why we do this is because we try to empower these people for retail precisely. So I get a lot of vacancy requests from retail stores saying, I have a vacancy here. But you send these young people there and they work 3 months, like you said, and they leave. So what we started to do was that we started to ensure that you pass through a program, some sort of a training with us, just so that we can renew the mindset. So one of the things I noticed is I noticed that maybe because the entrance into retail is very, if you're going into the banking industry, you and I know the process, the long process that they take us through before you get in. So by the time you're in, you're like, let me first calm down first before, like, but the retail is like if somebody comes in, the next minute, so you come tomorrow, you're employed. So the fact that there's no onboarding process, there's no probably is very lenient, one of the reasons why they feel they can jump out anytime. Number two, they have a wrong mindset. There's a wrong mindset people have in the retail industry, apart from the fact that a generation has arisen that doesn't like process. Anything process, they don't like it. Anything that keeps them enduring for too long, they don't like it. So a lot of things are there, but I really want to, believe that if we can work on the mindsets of these people to understand that this is not how at the academy, sir, if we send you to a customer's place to work and you live there in less than 6 to 9 months, we don't source any we don't give you any place to work anymore. It's a part of punishment. And if you do it 2 times, we will blacklist you. We'll ensure that so we're trying to raise the standard so that you just don't feel that I can walk in anytime and walk out anytime. So we try to do that. But like you said, this home syndrome you talked about, I'm going to research into it because it's
Stockholm. It's called
interesting.
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm.
Syndrome.
I'm going to
Stockholm is a country.
research.
It's a country, right? Stockholm is a
Yes.
country. Yeah, the
Yes.
syndrome. Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to
You see,
research it.
Abby, let me tell you something. You see, the average Nigerian worker, if you underemploy, it's a problem. Because, for instance, if you bring a graduate and you employ him in retail, though you're paying him well, he wants the bank job or the white collar job. So whatever you're paying him, no matter how much you pay him, he will not stay. They call it retirement job or something like that. I don't know, but that's one. Secondly, is that I find it hard to explain to some workers that even though, because for instance, I told you I was in the bank. There was only one thing that was sure for us as a banker, that on the 24th you get your salary alert.
That was the only thing.
That was the only thing that was sure for you. So when I left, I asked God for one thing. I said, please help me. Don't ever allow me stay up to 28 and not pay my workers, whether we sell or not. And to the glory of God, for 13 years, we have never stayed that without paying. But I find hard to tell my customers that my workers that I pay them salary, and for 3-4 months at times I've not paid myself. That we
Wow.
sold 10-15 million naira this month, right? By the time you check the overhead cost that is constant, you check the cost of holding the goods you're holding that runs to hundreds of millions, you see that what you have sold is nothing. Because if I borrow this money from bank, will I be able to have paid the interest? No. So what it means I've not earned, but they are earning, right? Now, this same worker now will now begin to quantify your money for your business. He started like he was not there, you know, for his earning. You can imagine some customers, some workers will wait for you. Maybe there's a sales today, and and when the person leaves, as they're going to leave, they'll just bring one problem to you because they just know that you just sold something. Meanwhile, they probably have not sold anything for the last 2-3 days, and they don't know what the money that has been sold for is. That's one. Secondly, is that I discovered that people don't have, like I say, resigning is not a problem. There must be turnover in labor, right? But to resign the proper way,
Please.
hand over, right? One of my workers, you know him, but I won't call his name. One of my workers, I was out of the country. He didn't even have courtesy of dropping the key or calling me to say that I'm driving. He dropped the key in the drawer on the passage of the mall.
Wow.
And they were calling him for 3 days. The fourth day, he picked his call and said the key is there. I've not seen him today. He never said why he left. And he was owing the company because we loaned him some money for his wife's CS. Are you getting me?
Wow.
Was there anything? No problem. They said he got the job in Lagos that they are paying maybe 15,000 more. And so he left, not even courtesy of where you have worked for 4 years, not even courtesy of, oh, okay, I'm moving on. No, thank you for having. So, and that's what most of them do. So why did I go to that place? Why I went to that place is that if you're in the retail business and it's luxury, for markets and the rest, you'll not be able to do anything. But in luxury, try and know every of your customer personally, so that
Oh,
one
I
staff doesn't
love
leave
this.
one day and move
And
with your
renders your
customers.
business handicapped because you
Handicap.
don't have a relationship with your own customers.
Yes. Even if you're not there when the customer patronized you, because the number is there on your Hustle Harmony or wherever you're keeping your record, you put a call and say, "Thank you, sir. I saw you came to our place today. I hope what you got is serving
Oh,
the purpose.
this is
We'll
such an
be
insightful one. Very
we'll be
insightful.
we'll be happy to help if you need any other further care or you need something in that same this thing. And we can also give you personalized if you want to order
Service.
service, if you want to order something that we don't have in house here, but we can show from catalog. You understand me? That way you have opened the line of communication with that person. But if you allow this for your staff,
Outside
when
of
they
the staff.
one of these they will disappear and all your record. A friend of mine, one of the workers disappeared with the records of customers. Can you believe that? Disappeared, and one was resigning. He didn't say. After he resigned, they were reviewing their CCTV and discovered that the last few days he stayed there was busy copying customers'
Record.
uh, records. So you see, those are the things that you, as an owner, as an entrepreneur, you must get involved. You don't be that big that you don't get involved, because in luxury, every item is expensive. If you lose an item, you lose so much money. So you must get involved in the day-to-day running. You must interact with your customers daily. Talk to them, right? Talk to them. There was a time I was not seeing some very good and very important customers. And after some time, I don't like disturbing customers, so I don't usually call them. But when if somebody who is coming maybe every 1 week or every 1 month, and you don't see him for like 6 months, I had to start putting a call. The first time I put call, give me a shocker that they're tired, or each time they come to my shop, one of them my worker, there's a particular work I had. It will even tell them the wife just gave birth. It will tell them about house, this thing and the rest. And so
Wow.
that's why they start keeping. I called the first one, second one, third one. All of them were saying the same thing. Wow. I now said, but the worker had gone that at that time. So I now said, this you mean he said that he calls them personally, probably bring personal problems to them. So you see, you have to be in contact with your customers once in a while. Try to know the lifestyle, try to know what's happening with them once in a while. Just put a call in, okay, how are you? I've not seen you for a while. Hope you're good. And that's it.
This is so good. This is so good, sir. Thank you so very much. In fact, one of the things, like I said at the academy, what we try to do is that one of the first courses you take when you come to the academy is called Retail Mindshift. What we do in that is we try to re-engineer their mind that retail is like every other sector, and not everybody can work in the banking sector or the oil and gas sector. Retail is like any sector. So we do like a review of the Western world where you find master degree holders and PhD degree holders even working and being fulfilled working in retail stores. And we make them know that once the sector can accommodate you, there is it's you don't need to feel little than working in a retail store to working in a banking industry. Finally, sir, we've taken so much of your time. It's 1 hour, so I didn't want to take you more than 1 hour. So I would just ask you, what advice do you have? What's your parting comment? What advice do you have for that young entrepreneur, young retail entrepreneur who is going out? What do you have to say to them? It could be a sentence, it could be a phrase, it could be a tag, whatever you want to say, you can say to them right now, sir.
Okay, what I want to say is that entrepreneurial spirit is not taught. You don't teach somebody. It's either you have it or you don't have it. When you have it, and the urge is there for you to go and try, don't be afraid. Just start. Like I said, it's going to take longer than you think. It will be harder than you think. You will suffer, but nothing in the world will worth it.
I
So they
love
should
that.
just they
Just
should just
start.
don't they should not sit around and be waiting for start. Like I tell them, start. Do you know in the Igbo mentorship system, if you finish serving and your guy did not give you enough money to start your business, what do? You you start running, you
Yes,
collect and sell,
you
right?
collect
So,
and
for
sell.
instance, if you want to do tailoring as a person and you don't have money to open your own factory, what stops you from going to learn how to measure people, take their measurement, buy the material, and go and give somebody to sew for you, and you deliver and make some small. From those small ones, you can open your own, right? Don't say because you don't have the money to start, you won't start. Get close to those who are doing the same thing you want to do, and see how you can start from there. Just start.
Oh, oh God, this is really good. Thank you so very much, sir,
You're
for
welcome,
this
Obi.
wonderful session. We can't thank you enough. This has really been an impactful session. I have learned so much personally, and I know that anyone who will be listening to this, whether now, because quite a bit are listening on YouTube, but even those who would still listen or watch this clip afterwards, I'm sure you have learned so much. Thank you so much, sir. Have a wonderful time. We'll be calling on you
You
once
too.
in a while, but I know
My
that.
pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Do have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week ahead, sir.
Okay, you too. Take care.
Bye, sir. So we come to the wonderful end of today's series with Mr. Kenneth. I am so blown away with the wealth of knowledge and experience that he just literally handed to us. If you stay through this particular session, or you're still watching this at a later time, it will be great to hear your comments about this session. Please leave us a comment about what struck out or what stood out for you this entire session, and if it's been a rewarding one from you. So we come again to you very soon with another amazing guest. You don't want to know who we're bringing yet next, but we'll be hosting her on Saturday. She's built a retail brand for 25 years. They just celebrated their 25th anniversary doing business, a retail business in Nigeria for 25 years. It's amazing. You want to hear her experience. You really want to, and she has so much to share. So, till we come to you again, be encouraged, stay inspired, and do have a wonderful day.